Good morning. Ed Murphy here from GreenTechHQ, Ireland's first and only sustainable innovation hub here in Enniscorthy, County Wexford. I'm very lucky this morning to have a fantastic Wexford company joining me. I have Damian Donlon from Dulann. Very welcome, Damian.
Thank you very much indeed, Ed.
It's great to have you here, and I'd love to talk to you a little bit about Dulann and ask you, I suppose, why or how you got started in the business that you're in.
Okay, an interesting question. First of all, I'd like to compliment you on the place here. It's absolutely fantastic, and it's great to see it firsthand.
Thank you.
Well, Dulann started in a recession. 2013, we were officially incorporated 7th of June, and by the 26th, the official news came out that we were back in recession again after the bailout. So it started in a recession, and Brendan Howlin, actually, who was affectionately known by us as the Minister for Hardship at the time, cut the ribbon on us. And since then, we've been going strong. We've bootstrapped it since then, really. So there's no external investment or anything like that. It's all reinvested in the company by Wexford staff. 60% of the staff have come through SETU in some way, shape or form. And I suppose we started it then, and the business has changed a lot in those 10 years, but it is to provide efficiency gains for the SME market by using advances in technology.
Let me ask you a little bit more about that. In terms of efficiency gains, obviously there's many different ways a company can get efficiency gains. How, two questions in one.
Sure.
How could a technology company like yourselves provide efficiency gains to whether it's a manufacturer or whatever type of company, or two, how do you measure efficiency gains through the use of technology that you have?
Good question. Our clients are varied, I would say. So while we're market leaders in the likes of food processing, for example, we have some fantastic clients anywhere in the world, really, and even locally. We have the Neville Group here. We have Dulann in Wexford, Zurich Insurances, Rosslare Europort. So to name a couple of those sort of companies, and they all, I suppose, use our technology perhaps in a slightly different way to suit them. And that's, I suppose, the benefit of what we have from a technology point of view, and what makes us a little bit different from the big American or Scandinavian European players is the technology is not just scalable, but it's highly configurable. So from a brass tacks point of view, it could be we started in e-learning, for example, and the business is very different.
You started as e-learning?
We started in e-learning, and we started specifically in food safety all those years ago. So rather than putting someone into a classroom for a half a day, that they were able to do the course online at a time and place that suited the employer. So it meant you were not disrupting operations to take everybody off the floor and put them in a classroom, that you could do it during a period of downtime or whatever that may be. And the business then progressed over the 10 years into predominantly compliance software and predominantly around the area of quality, environmental health and safety, maintenance, e-learning and learning. And we're the only company in the world that I'm aware of that have all of those four applications, as we call them. So we've quite a niche market insofar as that we say we do all of the basics really, really well. So while we have loads of competitors, mainly on an international basis, clearly you'll have companies that'll make you the coffee, but they come with a price tag of 100 grand.
Yeah, but Damien, and I'm just curious from the point of view of Wexford, may not be looked upon as the tech capital of the world. What's it like to have a technology company in Wexford to be able to gain the type of engineering experience or whatever that you need to have to make this work, to make it world class, as you call it?
Listen, there are pros and cons with every location. I think when you're a company that's genuinely delivering efficiency gains, I mean, we track this for every client. We track it using the big data scenario. So we've provided efficiency gains of 70 million back to our client base in the last 3 years. So when you're providing that sort of bottom line benefit, so our tagline is efficient, compliant, safer workplaces, and it's all very good providing safer workplaces, and everybody wants that, of course, but they also want to see, are you making them more efficient from a brass tacks point of view? So whether you're in Timbuktu or Wexford, it makes it a little bit easier when you're providing those sort of gains, whether it be through digitizing paperwork and processes or whatever that may be. So that's definitely a plus point regardless of where we're based. Wexford is a fantastic location for us. We do have a base in Malaga as well, where we have 7 guys working out of, and we operate through a network of partners really who are sort of resellers for us.
How did Malaga happen, and why did it happen? And it's just interesting for a Wexford company to set up a second location in Europe, on the continent, and in Spain.
Yeah, it was partly by accident and partly by design, really. I mean, food processing in particular, and it's not our only client base by any stretch of the imagination, has been really good to us. When the recession was there, we said, okay, well, where are people going to spend money? And it's typically on regulatory stuff that they have to do, and food was one of those things that kept trucking along. And when you look at the big food producers, and South America ultimately is our final destination, at least in my time. So how do you make that jump? So Spain was a natural choice for us. So our system is fully multilingual, but we focused a lot on Spanish. We soft launched there in September. We're hard launching there in April. So it's a very similar culture to us. It's easier to get React developers in Spain, never mind Wexford. And we had a really good guy here that was on an Erasmus program, a fellow called Carlos Castillo Ramos, who was working in Enniscorthy, in the Enterprise Centre here. And we were fortunate enough to meet him, and he's from that general area down there. So we built a good relationship with the college in Estepona, and he now heads up the Spanish office, and actually is a director of the Spanish office.
It's a fantastic story. It's fantastic to see it happen. Tell me,
but just to answer the Wexford question as well, because I probably rambled a little bit, Ed, and didn't answer it properly. For us, I was in Belfast yesterday with 2 clients, and you can be the Dublin border, just north of Bray, in an hour from Enniscorthy.
Yeah, you certainly can.
Okay, go into the city, it's a little bit more. You'll hit Youghal in an hour and a half, Cork City a little bit more. And from our point of view, it's so equidistant that it's brilliant. From a staffing point of view, we have less housing pressures than there would be in some of the bigger cities, so it makes that bit easier to retain good staff and get staff with with the colleges that are here.
It's very interesting, because I was in Wexford for a tech meetup the other night in Scurry's office, and I was just amazed at there's about 40 tech professionals there from many different companies. And it's just really vibrant. So it's lovely to see that there's a lot of tech people in a location that, I'm being honest, I didn't think there was a year ago.
Fantastic to see Rory starting that back up again. That was the second meeting. As I said, I was away on client meetings, so I haven't been to the first or second one. I will try and get to the third one for sure. But it's fantastic to see that happening in Wexford.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, there is such a focus in the southeast area on Waterford, and even branch that into Carlow, Kilkenny, that this little corner tends to get forgotten a little bit. But of course, there's been some great tech or technology-driven companies in the southeast all along, but perhaps the focus and impetus hasn't been behind it. So something like an innovation centre that's focused on environmental, and it creates a sort of a tech hub, and not just technology, of course, I think is quite a unique little thing for the country, and certainly a massive asset for the southeast, Wexford, and in particular Enniscorthy.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. By the way, just going back a little bit, Damian, I'm quite interested in a tech company that has been bootstrapped. It's kind of unusual, because sometimes you have to put in such infrastructure first before you get to having a product that has that you can go out and sell around the world. So how the hell were you able to bootstrap that? Did you have rich parents or
Nope.
or rich?
None of those. None of those. Listen, it's not without its challenges for sure. And probably one of the biggest learnings for me on a personal level, when I came out of college in the mid-90s, I went working for a company called MRI, which most people will more know as McDonald's Restaurants of Ireland. And I was part of the team and obviously a global team, but we opened a restaurant somewhere in the world every 8 hours. So when you opened at an unusual time, an unusual day, in an unusual location, being the global organization it is, everything was ready. Everything was perfect.
Yeah.
Money was not a problem. And one of the best organizations in the world in many ways. And that's the way I was conditioned, trained. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. And then you get into a bootstrapping environment where in many ways your product is never finished. Yeah. It is constantly evolving. An old mentor and friend of mine once was asked in a bar chat, actually, when did you know that you had made it? And this particular guy had made it in terms of everybody else's viewpoint. And he turned around to him and he said, what do you mean made it? This is no destination. I'm still on my journey. Yeah. So the biggest challenge personally for me was understanding that your product is never actually 100% perfect. Yeah. Our roadmap goes out at the moment is full until August.
Yeah. Interesting.
Now it's flexible depending on client demands and everything, but when you come from a position where everything is perfect, then that's it's unusual to get to the bootstrap thing. But we just reinvested everything, and
good on you.
Absolutely, good everything, and that's another thing for Wexford, I suppose, is that it's got such a low cost base. Yeah. You know, and we've been very fortunate and lucky that we've had that low cost base that allows us that when the clients believe in us and trust in us, and it all started locally. Of course, we didn't land these big names on day one, is that we were able to put that money back into the local economy.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And tell me, in general, when you measure, as you say, efficiency gains, how is that mainly measured?
Well, we take actual figures from our clients. Yeah. So let's assume, for example, they're recording accidents and incidents and managing them on our system. And so we've one client that has managed 200 accidents incidents in the last 3 years. We will look at that actual figure. Yeah. We will look at the amount of time that it would take them to do that in paperwork. So find the book, report the book. Yeah. Excel, somebody's office, walking across the thing, and they are allowed to pick that time themselves because every client is different. And then we give them the opportunity to say, well, using our system, what percentage time did you save? And then we use the actual figures, and they can adjust that themselves. So these are all figures, right? And we use the GDP per hour worked then as a figure. So one plant that was built in Wexford, to give you a local example, we gave them back 3,500 operational hours. So our competitors will say, you know, we're here to save you time and money. And the reality is they don't save them money because I'm already paying for these staff to be on the ground, or I'm on fixed price contracts or whatever. So the real gain from our point of view is twofold, really. The first one is the operational hours that we give you back to go off and do what you want to do with and to make money for the business and more efficient. And I'm leaving aside the safety side. And the second one, of course, is the intelligent information that we're able to provide that lots of our competitors can't. So you look at your actual facts, say for the first quarter, you're able to project out to year end to see what your operations in a particular department is going to look like. And so you can do that from day one, but if you have your facts at the end of your first quarter and you're able to say, right, can I reduce these, it could be plant inspections, could be whatever that may be, corrective actions, can I reduce them by 30%? By taking action now. Whereas most of our competitors are looking at the year that's gone and putting actions in place for next year, we're able to project out to the end of the year and go, right, well, would the business be a different place if we were to take action now? Which, of course, the quicker you take action, the more potential you have to impact it positively.
Okay, no, fantastic. So tell me, just to finish up, so where are you at now? Where are you going in the next year, 5 years, and what fun or interesting facts can you tell me about Dulann?
South America is still on our list. Of course, we have to get through UK and Spain and everything like that first. But interesting facts. We have had our first sales meeting in South America, in a city called Chihuahua, actually, which I didn't even know existed. We have a Chihuahua at home.
How did that happen? How do you end up in Mexico?
Listen, we were very close to a deal on one of their facilities in Cork. Yeah. And their contract manufacturing type organization. And they decided to relocate the contract manufacturing to Mexico and Poland, actually. Yeah. And our sales manager came in and he said, it's 20 grand out of my pipe, or whatever figure he had put on it, and was a little bit despondent. And I said, well, sure, why don't you go and win it in either Poland or or Mexico.
Cool.
And I thought no more of it, but of course he is the good guy that he is, and actually took that advice and went after the lead. Good. And we've had our first sales meeting. We have an amber light, I would say, at the moment, and we hope to have the green one in the next couple of days. But it was our first proper sales meeting in Spanish as well, so it allows us to dip our toe in the water. Interesting stuff after that for us. I mean, really is environmental and the whole ESG and green agenda. We've always been very environmentally friendly. Being a SaaS business, it's all about sort of the computing energy. So power, what data farms and data servers do you use? And we're with Azure, and we have been since day one, really. And they've been fully carbon neutrals for the last 11 years.
Very important.
So we're bringing our 5th application out. So the 4 we have is environmental health and safety, e-learning, and maintenance with lockout, tagout, and quality. And they're the applications we have. So ESG will be out later in the year as part of that suite.
Fantastic. Well, look, we're very happy in GreenTechHQ to work with you on ESG, and hopefully we can partner up to bring ESG learning to many hundreds of SME companies, particularly in Ireland. So fantastic. So it's great to have you here, Damian. Thank you very much.
Thanks for
great
being
to
here.
hear the success of another Enniscorthy person. You're living in Enniscorthy at the moment.
On the Ross Road,
Yeah, good on you. Well, look, you're great. Thank you, and thanks for what you're doing for Wexford and for bringing prosperity, let's call it, to the economy.
Listen, glad to be part of it, and I'm sure there's loads of mutual benefits that will be had between everybody, but delighted to assist through our journey, other tech companies, and particularly the hub here in terms of getting up and going, because we've lots of learnings as well. It wasn't exactly an overnight situation.
No, great, fantastic. Well, thank you again.
Okay, thanks, Ed.
Bye.